I see that countdown. Friday night, the last Friday in 2022. King Smith is in the building. We got James from Dating to Marriage Support, one half of the Dating to Marriage Support in the building. 10 more seconds until we chop it up. Father to father, man to man. If you come in, hit that like button. Let's get it. What's up? What's good? What is happening? I am the actual King Smith, and we are here on a Friday night Chats with Dads live stream. Hold on, let me get that round of applause coming back. Run that back. All right. We ain't gonna be too long tonight. Okay, I've got a young man roughly about the same age as me coming up, and we're going to chop it up with life as a father. The guy, I met him as his wife does content on YouTube as well. I believe he has done some content as well. Their YouTube channel is called Dating to Marriage Support. I'm going to get a little bit into that. I'm going to get a little bit into asking him about his influence as a father and you know, how he came about. All right, how did he get his values? Okay, this Chats with Dad is something that I'd like to do a lot more of in 2023. Okay, so if that's something that you're interested in, shoot me an email at theactualkingsmith@gmail.com. We ain't gonna be here that long because the brother, as you'll find out, got a lot of damn kids, and they've got a live stream going on after this. But I'm going to bring up here from backstage my man James. James, what is up?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing all right. So y'all, look, James and I have never met. This is our first time actually chopping it up. But from what I've learned, okay, we from the same home state, if you will, man. So tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and if you don't mind sharing what it is that you do.
Yeah, so man, so we have a YouTube channel called Dating to Marriage Support. So me and my wife, we kind of been like seeing a lot of, like, we always had these like type of conversations and stuff like that, and I think it helped like our relationship out. So I think it's like with what's going on in the society today. A lot of people are confused on how they're supposed to be in a relationship, what their role is supposed to be. So we were just like, hey, like we got something that works, so let's just share it with the world. It's really not nothing new. If you just kind of just be happy and just have a positive mindset, most of the time you're gonna work things out. So we kind of like started with that, and then we just, because first we started with a family page, and I was showing like the real estate, and but I was trying to like kind of hold it a secret because I wanted my family to come into it more. Trying to help out the family first, give them the information, but a lot of them, they jump on it. So I was like, all right, let me start talking about it a little bit, but when we started seeing like other content creators started talking about it, and they actually talking about what we lived, we were just like, hey, this is gonna start, talking about it to help people out, and then we'll kind of get into the real estate a little bit later, putting more information out there. So
Okay, cool. And whereabouts, man, are you from, brother?
yeah, I'm from Birmingham, man. So I went to Fairfield. It's like right outside of Birmingham, like 2 minutes away, type of deal. So yeah, I'm like right there from it. And I heard you was from Anniston, right? Anniston?
I am from Anniston, man. I went to Anniston High School my
Okay.
9th to 10th grade year, but I transferred and I graduated from Sachs High School, which is right up the road.
Okay.
But family
Yeah, you like
is
30 minutes away.
Yes, sir. Hey. Auburn, Alabama.
You already know, man. Roll Tide all day.
Roll Tide, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
We on top. I had off here, but we'll be back.
Two things that I know off the top that you and I share in common. We both served in the service and we're both fathers. Tell me about your time, man, in the service. What got you to either get enlisted or get a commissioned man in the military?
Yeah, man. So I already knew like what my environment. You know how Birmingham is and stuff. I know
Yes,
how
sir.
Anderson can be too.
Yes, sir.
So I was like, hey, I wanted to make sure I wanted to be some. I want to be somebody productive. So I was like, hey, I can't do it here. So I was like, I didn't like school. I didn't study. I didn't do all that type of stuff. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to go to college and get a lot of debt, and then and then I got to pay this debt back as a place I don't want to be. So I was looking at my options. So I was like, hey, military. My dad was prior military. Both of my granddad was prior army. So I was like, hey, this is a way out, and let's get it type of deal. So that would kind of push me towards that way. I knew I didn't want to go like the army and what I mean, be in the battlefield and all that type of stuff because I already was raised in that. I just didn't have a weapon growing up. So I was like, all right, let me go to the Navy. Maybe, what I mean, that they're not gonna be going to Afghanistan. And lo and behold, I'm still in Afghanistan. So I still went there with the Marines. So I was like, come on, man, it's crazy. So yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So the other thing that I said is that you and I are both fathers as well. I'm a father of one teenage girl from a
Okay.
previous marriage.
Okay.
My marriage lasted over 10 years.
Okay.
Things started to kind of, slide off a little bit, man, shortly after
Yeah.
that. And I've been divorced for about uh 4 years now, or a little bit over 4 years. What's your situation like, man? The family household. Are you currently married now, and how many children do you have?
All right, so total I have 4 kids now. The first one was my first wife. We was married for like 5 years. We split because you know how you have those in the military, you go on deployment and stuff like that. Come back, find out cheating, spent all the money type of deal. So I was one of those that's statistics that's in the military that a lot of people go through. Um, and then after that, so I divorced her, and I was a single dad, so I got full custody of my oldest son. I had him 100% away since he was 2. But yeah, so I got divorced with her, got full custody because of the stuff she was doing. You know what I mean? She was, I don't know about, well, yeah, she was on drugs and stuff like that. I just say it that way, whatever. Then she want to show up to court. She's being young and stupid at the time. I think she's kind of, matured more. Now he's 11 now, about to be 12. So she's maturing more. And now she's trying to, get back more back into his life and stuff. But and then after that, probably like less than a year later, I met my current wife now when I was a single dad. She was telling me that before, she would never date no man with kids. but but she made the exception for me. She made the exception for me, whatever. So I was blessed with that. But we had 3 kids together, 5, 2, and 10 months now.
Five,
So
2, and 10 months, and then your oldest is how old now?
11. He's about to be
11.
12.
Okay.
He about to be 12 actually tomorrow. Yeah.
All boys. Hey, man.
Yeah.
I got one girl. What's the secret, but all boys?
Hey, it's the position knowledge. No, I'm joking, man. I don't know. I think I got a lot of boys in my family. So my mom had all boys. She had 3 boys. My dad had 3 boys and 1 girl. So I think it's just maybe the family line. It's just we just have a lot of boys type of deal. So that's why I guess it come from. But but a lot of people from Africa be like, "Hey, well, he has strong genes." So it's funny.
There's something that you said earlier that I like to go back to, brother. It's rare when you hear um a lot of fathers talking, okay, a lot of men talking. It's rare that the guy gets primary custody. Now, you mentioned that she had some challenges that she had to go through. Was it still a hard fight for you to get, full custody? And if you don't mind, man, just kind of tell us about that experience, like, because you're serving in the military. She's doing her job as well. She, has her challenges. How rough was it to go through that, still take care of the responsibilities, and do what you felt like you had to do for the health of your son?
Yeah, honestly, it was very rough. Kind of going through that situation, knowing that the family is split up. It was somebody I was raised with, that I thought was like a fairy tale, situation. Especially like growing up together, I knew a family, she knew my family, type of deal. So it was rough, but I just remained calm. I went in there. Even told her that I'm gonna raise all my kids. I'm gonna make sure even before we split, I'm gonna make sure I'm in the house with all my kids. And that's what one thing I said I was gonna make sure I did, and I was gonna fight for whatever. And even if I didn't get custody, I'll probably still going to court now to make sure that I want my kids, because that's my legacy. I don't want my legacy being no statistic. You know what I mean? You know how Birmingham is, especially it's easy
Mm.
like that, the change. So I told her, I was like, hey, I'm gonna make sure I'm in my kid's life. And she just kind of, I guess, made it a little easier for me, but it was still actually hard because they were still trying to give her, the custody. They was trying to put in the like rehab programs, all type of stuff back in that time. And I'm just like, yo, I can take care of him, type of deal. Like, just let me have him. I don't have no problem with it. But they were just like, no, we gotta give her the opportunity to get change and get better, blah blah blah. And I was just like, man, it just kind of showed like how bad the court systems were. But I just still kept the level head. I had to make sure I could told my mom to remain calm because my mom was starting to go crazy, and I was like,
Mm.
"Mom, just relax. What I mean, we're gonna get through it." And because I was telling my mom, you could mess this up if you keep acting up with her. But I understand how you feeling, but we just gotta remain calm, and we're gonna get through it. So, and we got through it.
See, that's interesting to hear, because something like you said, as a guy, you have to come in to the family courts damn near pristine almost, or at least like it seems that way.
Yeah,
All your
yeah.
I's have to be dotted, all your T's have to be crossed, just to have the
Hmm.
opportunity for a judge or a probate to award you, full custody. And it seems like, just kind of from what I heard here, but not just in your situation, but talking with other guys too, is they want to do everything in the power to ensure some type of fair arrangement, or something that, keeps the mom in mind, uh
Hmm.
works out. And I'm I know that this isn't something that, you and I can answer, but I'm wondering, with the laws and, how it is now, I just ask myself, why is that way? And I'm just throwing that out there as a hypothetical.
Hmm.
All right, so you you have your first marriage. It wasn't that long. It was in your young 20s, I'm
Hmm.
assuming.
Yeah, I was
Um
19 when I got married first time.
hey, I was 20, man. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
20,
yeah,
and kind of similar. I knew my ex-wife since middle school, man, essentially.
yeah,
Um
yeah,
and
yep.
both our families still stay within a 5-minute drive from each other,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how, I rolled. But let me ask you this. So, I went through my divorce, brother, and just to be as clear as possible, man, I decided to be a hoe out here, man, in these streets. What was your divorce like? Were you depressed at all? Did you have a whole phase? Tell me about how you felt after your divorce, and just kind of talk us through, what your mindset was.
Yeah, so my mindset at the time, I didn't have no like the whole face type of deal, like but I was just trying to make sure my son was good. So I just kind of prayed to the Most High. I was like, please send me a good woman. But I didn't know it was going to be that soon. So I was just trying to make sure he was taken care of. Because you know, I mean, being a single parent is a lot of work. So you know, I come home from work, have to cook. You know, I mean, have to make sure everything is straight around the house, help him with his work, homework, and stuff like that. Or you know, I mean, just trying to teach him stuff. And sometimes, man, I'd be so exhausted, I fall asleep on them. I put
Mm,
the cartoons. I used to put the cartoons on, and man, one time he scared the death out of me. I woke up. Um, I woke up because normally he'd be on my bed watching cartoons. So I woke up and I ain't see him. So I'm running around. Jay, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? He not answering. I'm looking everywhere. I'm looking in the closets, everywhere. And his butt put himself to sleep. He went into his room. He went into his own bedroom, whatever, and laid down. He was knocked out in there, man. But that just scared me to death. But you know, it just, you know, what I mean, it was just on the other side, you know, what I mean, so I can kind of relate to some of the things that single moms go through and stuff. So, but it wasn't, you know, what I mean, I tried to do what I can, you know, to keep the family together. But hey, it is what it was. So,
okay. I do want to highlight this comment real quick. Super C is my homeboy. He's from my hometown as well. He is shooting
okay.
his shot at the real Precious in the chat. So, hey, Precious, if that wasn't obvious, I'm letting you know that Super C is my homeboy. He's not trolling, and he is definitely out here Steph Curry shooting his shot. Hey,
Yeah.
so James, man, you meet Lady Di. I've heard some of her content. Now, she got married when she was 25. You were what, 27-ish?
Yeah, 26, 27. I think I was because we like a year and a couple of months ahead of yeah, like we, you know, like I graduated '08, she graduated '09 type of deal.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
in some of her live streams, she talked about how, she was intentional at 25 about
Hmm.
being a wife.
Yeah.
Were you a husband when y'all met?
Yeah. I was, and I was trying to guide her in a way because I was just coming out of marriage, so I kind of knew what works, what didn't, and I was like, hey, yeah, a lot of that stuff we was taught was wrong. So I was trying to teach us stuff, kind of like what Kevin Samuels was saying. This type of I know a lot of people don't might not like him and stuff, but he was speaking facts, you know.
Mhm.
And I was telling her this stuff, and then a lot of stuff I was saying to her when he was saying it, she was like, oh, that's what you meant by that, like because she used to ask me like, hey, how do I look, type of deal, you know what I mean? And I said, oh, well, your face is very proportioned. It looks nice. And I'm telling her this. I'm 26, 27, whatever, right? Well, I probably was younger now, 24, because we was dating for a little minute. And
Uh-huh.
she was like, what does that mean? Like, and then like kind of when Kevin was talking about the face symmetry and all that type of stuff, she's like, oh, that's what you was talking about and stuff. So that's what kind of, you know, so when she came in, you know, I mean, it was a blessing, you know. She was able to, she had her own issues that she was dealing with, like I had my own issues that I was dealing with. But one good thing, she was listening. You know, she wasn't listening to everything, I'll tell you that, but she was listening to most things. And then she started seeing results, and then she started seeing our relationships get better over the period that we was together like 3 years before we got married. So so she was like, she started seeing changes, and then as soon as after she made all those changes, we got married just like that. You know, she always said that she wish she would have changed earlier because we would have got married sooner. So we, instead of us being married 6, 7 years, we'd been married, you know, I mean, 8 years or something like that. So, but yeah,
That's something that I had heard her talk about, both things. She talked about how at 25, she was doing the things, or had build upon doing the things that she wanted to do to be a wife. But in a separate live stream, she said she wasn't always like that. So
yeah, yeah,
it sounds like, man, it sounds like she saw you, and you aren't somebody that was just trying to be out here hoe hopping,
hmm,
going from, what I'm saying, female to female or anything like
yeah,
that. Your first marriage, is it fair to say that your first marriage was a failure?
yeah, it was. And I
Okay.
always say that, and that's why, even with like the Tia Mowry situation, she's saying that like, why are you dancing? I wasn't dancing and doing all that type of stuff. I was like, dang, we failed, and then we failed our son. You know, so Now he has to grow up with the depression, anxiety, and all that stuff with coming from having to go to his mom, and like he's at his mom house now in Alabama, so and he's gonna be coming back soon. So it's what I mean, now he has to get split between time between households when he could have just stayed in one family house. So it sucks for the kids.
Okay, hey man, straight up question, brother. What made you look at Lady Di and go, "That's my wife right there"?
um, Let me see. I think it
Hey,
was
billions of people out there in the planet. Why her?
yeah. I'm trying to remember the exact moment. I think it was a few different moments because to me it's a step by step process. So she get how like you playing a game. I know you see you gaming whatever.
The gamer,
If you
yeah.
get past level one, you're like okay, all right, I see you. Then you get to level two, level three, level four. You're like okay, you almost there. I think it was from the beginning. Because I told her like I always told her like I'm treating you like I would if I was your husband,
Hmm.
so you can know how it would be if we was married. So I always told her like, don't think you're gonna get something different than what I'm showing you right now. It's not gonna be no fairy tale. As soon as we walk around the aisle, now I'm singing Love Jones and all that stuff to you. No, it's gonna be exactly what you're getting now. So if you like what you're getting now, that's how I am gonna be when we get married.
All right, hey man. So I do this content online just to show people that everybody isn't out here like Young Thugger and Tory Lanez, trying to smash everybody and
Yeah.
cause fights and things like that. I was actually just over the Christmas holidays with my lady. She's in the chat now as well. And we went out to go get something to eat. And she was at a store. I was sitting at the restaurant at the bar waiting on my food. And I struck up this conversation with this young black male. And we just started kind of talking about family and the
Hmm.
holidays and things like that. It seems like you've always been a family man. Are both your
Yeah.
parents still together?
No, my they divorced when I was around probably 3 or 4. But my mom got remarried around that time, probably like a year later after they split up, and they was married for 26 years.
Okay,
So, and then I had a relationship with my stepdad, a real good relationship with him, and I had a good relationship with my dad. And then they both respected one another. So it wasn't like no beef between them. Like even at my wedding, they was talking. Everybody was chilling. We had even when we had kids, they came. All the family came over. We playing spades together, got pictures, and what I mean. So, but my stepdad passed 2 years ago, but
okay.
everything was good. With it. And I think it might be some of the southern living, what I mean, because we are more marriage mindset that I'm seeing, going through different states by being in the military. So ladies out there, if you got your southern guy and he about that he about that marriage life, man, stick with him because they're gonna the ones that gonna treat you right type of deal. So
That's what's up, man. There's one of the content creators that you talked about that would give relationship advice and things like that, Mr. Kevin Samuels. There's other
mhm,
content creators out there as well. You and your wife do content about dating to marriage support.
mhm.
I know that you talked about that you wanted to, have these conversations so that people can communicate about these things more. Do you think that people aren't doing it enough now and y'all saw like a market or a fit to try to come in there? Like, what's the passion behind y'all, doing it?
We've been doing it behind the scenes for about 5 6 years now. We just kind of put it mainstream. Like I had did a podcast when we need to talk,
I saw
and
that.
yeah, and I was telling him like how I was saving marriages at my work. I was getting women married, single moms married. Like, hey, like this is the perfect time. You need to settle down. You need to do this. You need to do that, and having these type of conversations so they can understand men because especially like in the military, a lot of women they're around a lot of guys. So since they're around a lot of guys, I'm gonna give you game so you can understand how men think. And then now you won't be like, oh, he's misogynist, he's blah blah blah. You can be like, hey, oh, this is how men operate. So now once women see, hey, this is how men are, now when they go and get their man, they not, oh, he's trying to control me. No, he's just trying to protect me. You know what I mean? Oh, he toxic. Oh no, he's just trying to make sure things are going in decent and in order. Because if things are out of line, everybody's gonna look at you. They're gonna look at the man. They're not gonna look at the woman. Like, hey, why y'all in the homeless shelter? And that's why I told Lady Di, I was telling her, before, if this shit goes down, everybody looking at me.
Mm.
So I gotta make sure you on the plan, because if you're not on the plan, when things go down, people gonna be looking at me and you trying to look at me crazy too, instead of you being in the plan and implementing your input in it. So
Ooh, okay, okay. You know, men and women have been together for a very long time, man. And even have there's books, there's YouTube and things like that. Why do you think that there's still such a disconnect in making relationship works? Because in my opinion, it's gotten worse
mhm.
recently,
Yeah.
which kind of caused the rise of people like Kevin Samuels and oh man, there's so many other people that I can't even really think of just another person right now. Why do you think there's such a disconnect now, though, man?
People don't invest in time into relationships. They invest in time at work. They study, school, learning sexual positions, that type of stuff. They don't invest in having good relationships with people. So that's why, and we don't have no morals in this society. So when they took culture away, now they took the moral process away, because culture keeps you in line with the moral principles in your society. So now, since you took the culture away, now it's no morals. Now it's Mr. Steal Your Girl. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? But if you was in a culture, hey, it's a law against that. You know what I mean? Oh, so it's a lot. It started with that, and then the feminist movement came, and then now you have a lot of women putting their work on top of their man, and then now it's a big disconnect, because the man is fighting for the attention of his woman, and the woman is saying, no, I got the bag, so I ain't gonna listen to you and all that stuff now. So it's it's just a real big disconnect when we could actually be building together and putting your checks in one pot, and then now you can go invest.
Hmm.
So now it's a lot of people gonna be living with their kids when they get older, and a lot of people are not gonna be able to make it in society today, because a lot of people are moving in back in with their parents, or the parents have to move back in with the kids because they're not making enough. So
Okay. All right. We have a couple of people that commented. Michelle early said, I appreciate the explanation. And Super C said, people are just way too ungrateful.
yeah,
Um,
facts.
how do you
Hmm.
think, or, ooh, no, where do you think the biggest course correction should come from, men or women?
Hmm. Hmm. So I think since men are the leaders, it has to be men, but women are gonna have a big role too, because they teach the kids. So it starts with the leader, and then it ends with the person that teach the kids. So now, if you're not, if the woman is not held to a certain standard, now the kids are not going to be held to that standard. Now they're going to disrespect the leader. So I think it starts with the man first. So men gonna have to come together and say, hey, we're gonna have to start ignoring these women. We can't give them no attention. We can't give them no time, no money, nothing, right? And then now it's gonna have a trickle down effect of, okay, women will say, hey, I need to act better, right? And even if they're faking, we can, I mean, we can make, like, we got the internet. We can make a list. Hey, don't mess with this woman. Have a picture, put it online, and then we can go down and say, okay, all right, she did this to this guy, she did this to this guy. It's like a credit
Bro,
score.
there's a group that I found out about. It's like don't date the same dude to, something like that, where basically it's a group of people around a certain area that,
Mhm.
they then come on and, highlight, hey, is anybody out there messing around with somebody named, Jack or whatever. I'm just throwing like a random name
Yeah.
out there, because it's almost like the competition for quality men and the competition for quality women is real, scarce. So when
Mm-hmm.
you are trying to find somebody of quality, or I'll say this, quality for you, because what works for
Yeah.
you works for you. It might not work for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yet still, man, as I'm looking around, so I got back into the dating scene. Um, Personally, I was depressed and didn't know it, so I went and sought
Yeah.
therapy and got some help and really turned things around. But when I got back into the dating scene with the right mindset, man, I started looking around and I saw a lot of trash pandas out
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
in the dating
Yeah.
marketplace, man. You've been married for a while now. Is your network of people that are married, single, or is it a good mix?
I think it's a good mix because most people are not married. So the people I am around, I think it kind of put me in the mindset of being able to be the teacher type of deal. So I can tell people like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what you need to change. This is what you need to do. But I think with with a lot of, I guess, like married couples, um, I think we do need to kind of like make a like a group, just so we can kind of show people. And I'm not talking about these married couples that got married and they fighting every day. I'm talking about actually married couples that's happy and they are appreciative of their relationship. Like I think Super C said, they ungrateful. You got to be grateful for somebody spending time helping you out and being there for you.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
All right. You had both your father and your stepfather growing up, man. Was one more of an influence over the other, or let me just ask a very specific
That's a
question.
good question.
Where
Yeah.
did you get more of your guidance from?
I would say my stepdad, to be honest with you, and it was because he was in the household with us. So that man that's in the house is going to have far more reach than the dad that you go and see every 2 weekends. So that's the kind of the thing. We seen him for 2 days out of, so basically 4 days a month. So he really can't put his influence on us like how somebody that's living in the house with us. But like I learned stuff from my dad. I learned what not to do, what to do, and I learned the same thing from my stepdad, what to do and what to not to do. But I think the man I am today is mostly because of my stepdad, because he was into sports. That's why I'm into sports. I played basketball, baseball. I played almost every sport growing up. And then he used to work on houses. I work on houses and do different things with my hands. Even when it goes so far driving on trips, like we had to use the restroom when we got gas. That's the only time you went. So if you if you ain't go when we got gas, your butt ain't going. You better hold it.
Here's an interesting question, man. Shout out to Jay for this one. Who's a better friend, married friends or single friends?
um, Honestly, I don't really have single friends, to be honest. Because I kind of put them in because they have a different mindset that what I have. So I'm trying to build. I'm trying to, what I mean, make sure the family is good. So I kind of don't have too many single, but my married friends, I kind of, we'll go out and shoot or something like that, or as a couple, me and Anisha take, what I mean, we take the ladies out, go shoot, so we can like actually teach them something. We went fishing together, so it was like as a married couples. So I don't really have too many single friends. I talk to single people at work, but if I'm not, I don't like hang out with them like that no more.
Let me share something with you, man. And this is personal for me. I don't know if I've said this on my channel or any of my vlogs, but going back to, who you had more guidance from, that was the one thing that made me nervous as my ex-wife and I were divorcing. Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
actually nervous about saying this, man. I even suggested because I understood the value of having my dad, in the house with me. Both my parents are divorced as well, and
Mm-hmm.
my dad stayed around until I was already out the house. I was 18 or 19, and my brother, who was a year and a half younger than me, was about 18. And I'm thankful for him for that.
Mm-hmm.
When me and my ex-wife were divorcing, I actually formed out of my mouth, why don't we stay together, but we're not together? You do
Yeah.
you, I'll do me. We are not, husband and wife. We are kind of just on paper per se. And I'm like, we can do this for, I think at the time I was like 8 years, 7 years, like we're still young. We can do
Yeah.
this because I wanted to be around my daughter. I didn't
Yeah.
know what that next chapter was going to look like, man. And if I'm being honest, I was afraid of another person coming in and having more influence than
Yeah.
me over my kid because I have a real good co-parenting relationship with my ex-wife. It's fantastic, especially compared to other people's co-parenting situations. I have access to my daughter whenever I need to, like even if it's not my time with her, I can come pick her up if they aren't doing anything, and I'm so thankful for that. But bro, I was scared about having that other person come in if she were to have remarried or gotten together with somebody, and
Yeah.
then that person moves in because I feel, and I don't like using the words feeling, like
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
as a guy, I work on logic. Talking with you,
Hmm.
you sound a lot more logical as well.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't want to have another man's influence be stronger than mine over my kids, brother. I was afraid of that. And if you
Yeah.
ask other men out there, I think they'll say the same thing as you, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Exactly. Exactly.
same thing as me.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Exactly. Exactly. I was gonna say too, because with the because depending on the age of your daughter too as well, you don't want nobody trying to touch her or doing that crazy. So, and then because now that's going to put you in a different mindset, especially you prior military. So that just I mean that I mean because a lot of times with us, like since we seen things, we've been out overseas, we had to fight and stuff. That just turned on that trigger, like all right, let's go, and then now we got to go see about them. But yeah, that could have destroyed you type deal. So I get it.
Yes, sir.
So
Hey,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Four of them things. What y'all
yeah.
don't have it anymore, bro? Like, man, you out here trying to be Nick Cannon and repopulate the entire USA, man. What's up, man? Y'all got plans for mom?
I don't know. We was possibly we was might gonna have like another because she wanted a girl. So I told her I've been telling her I can't have girls from since the first one. So but see, she was being hard headed. So so I was telling her, hey, I can't have girls. So we three down, and she's still like, hey, let's go for one more. But now she like, all right, let's take a break. So that's what kind of gave us time to do this stuff because we've been having kids, like we've been wanting to like get it here, get our face out, get to be known, but we just been kind of having kids, working and making sure stuff is taken care of at home first. So yeah.
Okay, all right. I think, and something that I'm learning, listening to people like Mr. Samuels and kind of thinking back to some of the old heads out there. I think what's missing for men is having another guy to kind of vet with you.
Hmm.
Did you have anybody assist you in vetting with your first wife and your current wife, or
I
not?
would say I did, but I didn't listen to the wisdom. Like my mom was telling me, like, hey, you see how her mom at? You see how, what I mean, there's certain things that she doing. But I was just like, mom, just because her mom like that don't mean she had to be like that. You know how like we just make, these generalizations and and then we just thinking like the generalization is false. But that time the generalization was good. And I seen red flags myself, but I was young at the time, and I didn't know how important it was. I was thinking like once we got married and kind of got more things in order, that she'll be better, but it never worked. So
See, I'm 38, man, and I got married at 20, but
yeah.
I'm going back and trying to think. If I was single in my 20s, I don't think there's a lot any old head or somebody with wisdom could have came and told me to help me make a better decision. How do you think we fix that?
I say we got to kind of show more marriages in the society. Like we only show the negative parts in our society, and the negative things always get the most attention. So that's why me and my wife we kind of started this page so we can kind of see like, hey, we young, we married, and we have a happy life. You know, a lot of people just like, oh well, if I get married, I gotta do this and do that, and oh he's gonna treat me wrong, or she gonna divorce me, take half, and blah blah blah. And now when people going into relationships with fear, it's already destroying the relationship before it even start.
Hmm.
So yeah, she said, "Mom's always right."
Mine is always right, and he followed up with it, and they love to tell you.
Yep. See, even when they wrong, they be like, and then you tell them, you tell them like, "Mom, you told me not to do that when they was wrong or something." They be like, "No, I didn't." Yeah.
Hey, so you know what? Jay followed that up with all the good marriages still end up broken when we witness them. If you're using your observations out there, I was saying this too. There's not a lot of examples of successful marriages because, let me just be frank. All right. They're successful when they're working and they're still married, but y'all are a young marriage, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to the detractors out there that'll, hear that y'all haven't been married quite a decade yet? That 7 year itch ain't came up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what do you say to people that will say, well, why should we follow you guys?
Yeah.
Uh, y'all still wet behind the ears.
Mhm. Yeah, I was telling them like, so with our marriage, what made it different was that we was together before we got married for 3 years. So with that, so together we've been together for over 10. So now we fixed all the issues before we got married. So when we got married, we knew that all right, if this happened, this was going to happen. If this happened, this was going to happen. A lot of people just get in relationships, get in marriage because they love somebody. I didn't marry my wife because I love her. You know, there's a lot of people I love that I didn't marry.
Hmm.
You know, so we have to get out of the feelings and get out of okay, how are we going to make this work? Okay, is the woman listen to elders? Does she have women that she go and talk to that's been married for a long time? How does she feel about divorce? How does he feels about divorce? What household he was in? Did he see a long marriage? Like I told you, I seen a 26-year marriage and they still would have been together right now, would have been 28. You know, so I know what it takes to make a relationship last long, and because I seen it with my own eyes, I just this time I didn't bypass the red flags. I fixed all the flags, and then now we have a productive relationship. We have kids. We have more to lose. If we split up now, both of us will be destroyed. So
Mm,
now you got to look at it like that. Like, okay, because now my wife hates divorce too as well. So she got to look for another man to be the leader in her house, right? And then now she got to fight against me to stay to not get the custody of the kids. She don't want to lose custody of them kids, you know. So now the money is gonna be lower. So
man, see, all right, James, dude, I have to tell you. So that's what scares me now. I
mhm.
will go on record. I've said this publicly. I'm scared of getting married again. Look, my divorce didn't end bad. We didn't use
Yeah.
no lawyers. We didn't use a
Hmm.
mediator. We talked about it ourselves. Split financially. What she had to split, what I had to split. We didn't have a house, bro. Hey, Ed, bro, I was almost. We were at the table at closing on a house, and I had just this bad feeling. And this is kind of when things were on the decline, but it wasn't. We hadn't quite said, "Hey, I think this is done." But we almost got
Hmm.
a house that, man, I am so thankful. Like I went to sleep one day, and I woke up in the middle of the night and said, "Yeah, I'm not doing this." I didn't feel right about it. But my divorce didn't end bad. And I'm still like, I don't know if I could walk down the aisle again when you look around. And like we said earlier, you don't see a lot of examples of good, long, successful marriages. So, hey, look, talk to me. Tell
Yeah.
me, as a young black man out here, why should I even do it again?
Yeah, I would say too. I was gonna say I'm glad you brought that point back up. I was gonna say with the not a lot of examples. The reason why we don't have a lot of examples because the people in happy marriages they're not talking about it. They just living a happy life.
Yes, that's what I told somebody the other day. I said, to the outside, they seem boring because you don't see the fighting. You
Yeah.
see holding hands, lovey dovey, so
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a train wreck where you're forced to look, they're just
Yeah.
you're happy all the time. So that's actually a
Mm-hmm.
good point, man.
Yeah, so that's why it took us so long to get here, because we like, do we really want to put our family and actually put a lot of time and energy into the people that's not going to really listen? We was actually having these type of conversations, like, would this actually make a difference? What people actually like? My wife just made a video like a few years ago, 3 years ago. She was about to start a wife school. So
Yeah,
and yeah, and
I
then
mean, I saw that one.
when she put it out there, she started seeing people talking negatively about it. She was like, "Man, let me just go back and start having me another child," and that's what we did. And so now we kind of coming out because we got to actually gonna have a maybe like a 3-4 year break and having kids again if we do. So now let's see if they're more susceptible to it now. Because if not, we can just go back and hide and we're gonna be good.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So
So I mean, tell me though, hey King, marriage is something that I should jump back into. Uh
yeah,
uh, you know, if that's what you would say, why? If that's
I'm gonna
not what
say,
you would say, tell me as a guy that's scared. I'm talking scared. Like I get
yeah.
my skin starts shaking if I were to ever think about it. What
Yeah.
advice or what type of things would you say to somebody like me?
I would say I had to kind of get more into your history, like what happened in the first marriage. But I don't know if you want to kind of go into that. But I can. I guess I can generalize it. I can. I would say you got to let the fear go. Number one, especially a man, we can't have fear. What I mean? We have to be on point at all times. And then when we have fear, we got to know how to control it. I should say that better. So we have fear, we got to know be able to control the fear, because every time we're gonna have a little fear, what I mean, once and twosies, whatever. But we can't operate in fear because we the leader. So we're gonna have to make the drastic decisions. But if you're scared, now that's gonna cloud your judgment. It's gonna, instead of you being logical, you're gonna be making an emotional decision because
Hmm.
you're scared. So now we have to get out of our mindset. Okay, I'm a good dude. I'm gonna make sure my wife is good. I'm gonna make sure I found the right wife, because you all the years of experience you have, especially like all the things you've been through, it made you to the man you are today. So you already should know what the red flags are and what to see. So you already prepared yourself. It's kind of like when you know how the nerds be afraid to take a test, and everybody in the class looking at them like, "Come on, dude, you made 100 in this class. Why you nervous?" You know what I mean? And that's how you should look at yourself. Like, hey, I already know all the information. I'm already putting in the work. I already changed myself. I already did this. So why am I afraid?
Hmm.
Let me go into this test, find this right woman, and then boom, we good.
Oh man, there's a guy in the comment section, man. That's the homie too. He said, "Hey, look, I'm scared of herpes, so I don't kiss strangers." The same with marriages.
Hey, hey, they said over 50% of people got herpes, so you gotta you gotta be
Hey,
careful out here.
brother, that was something too, man. So I'm re-entering the dating market. There's all these STIs,
Yeah,
STDs. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Should I just,
that's another reason to
throw
settle
my
down.
whole body into a body condom and just kind of stick to myself, go straight up monk mode over here, bro. There's some
Yeah,
stuff that I had heard about and researched, bro, that hey scared me straight. Let me tell you.
yeah, yeah,
um, so it sounds like to me you're a guy that's about building, that's about
yeah.
ensuring that your legacy is
Mhm.
left with a solid foundation.
Yeah.
You've got 4 kids right now, all boys, all that's going to have their own personalities. We're getting towards the end of the show here, and first of all, thank you, because it's my understanding you were a little bit up under the weather coming into this. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
right?
I'm still there. I am a little sick, but I mean, that's why I kind of been hitting my nose and stuff. But I'm all right.
I do my research over here.
Yeah, yeah.
So going back to your kids and how you are, what would you say to your boys that might have the opportunity, if this stays up on YouTube, man, as of today, what's kind of your primary message to the young homies out there
Mhm.
that are, looking to build themselves up to be men and maybe potentially fathers themselves, man? What would you say to your sons and to the young men out there growing up now?
Yeah, I would say, man, first thing to I would say is instead of looking at the OG as your leader, find your elder. And the elder is gonna so in our society today, we look at the OG as, oh, he know what to do, he on the block, instead of looking at the elder is gonna give you other options and to stop letting you go to jail or stop, getting you murdered, and that's gonna change a lot of our society. So since a lot of the fathers are not in the household because either the mom didn't want him there or he didn't want to be there, it has made a great divide with men. So now, men, we can't even have these type of conversations like that because a lot of guys are too emotional. You see
Hmm.
how we've been able to have like a productive relationship. We kind of been ironing stuff out. We have to get back to this stuff, having more conversations like this, especially with the young boys. I was on a train. I was riding the metro, and in DMV area, and it was boys talking about having sex, and they in high school around grown adults. And they in like high school talking about, oh, you're a virgin, blah blah blah. And I had to stop the young boys. It's like probably six of them. Nobody on the train said nothing. I had to talk to the young boys. I was like, hey, like what's wrong with y'all? Like why y'all talking around like this around grown adults? Like what's your problem? Like, and he was like, man, y'all was talking like this when y'all was younger. I was like, yeah, but we weren't talking about that around adults. Y'all ain't got no respect.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And then like people agreeing, but they wouldn't say nothing. They just shaking their head and stuff like that, whatever. So we got to get back to, actually being able to stand up and talk to these kids because a lot of these kids don't know no better because they at home they not getting taught nothing. Because if
Mm.
they was, I know one little boy had a dad, and I see him get off that train because he was with him at first, whatever. But as when he see me talk to them and get into them, he got off that train not to be around them. So yeah, so at least I got one kid to listen and understand, but we got to have these type of conversations and stuff.
Hey, look, I'm not saying that ladies can't instill discipline in their kids, but my observation, man,
They can't.
the 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 kids that seem to have good discipline, good structure, also have a solid father or a solid male figure in their
Exactly.
lives consistently. And I think
Exactly.
that that's something to be, said about that, man.
Yeah. I
And
promise you, man. Like when I was 13, I knew I was stronger than my mom. So if my stepdad went in that house, I probably would have been a fool. You probably wouldn't be talking to me right now
mm,
because I knew I was stronger than her. I knew I was faster. Every sense of the metric, I was stronger, and I could get away with whatever I wanted to do. But since my stepdad was like, my mom tell me to do something, I'm like, all right, mom, what I mean, whatever. My stepdad tell me to do something. Okay, I'm getting up. but but that's just our mindset. Like we're fighters by nature. So if you take that control away from us, we're gonna have no control.
hmm,
So
okay.
yeah.
All right. Hey man, I want to keep this rate at an hour and respect your time. We are 54 minutes in now, so I'm going to wrap up the show. I'm going to put your YouTube channel right there in the chat. It is Dating to Marriage Support. But before you go, man, do you have any last words that you would like to say to the people that are out there in general, listening? Something else that you'd like to cover that you may not have had the opportunity to say?
I like to say, we have to stop making relationships hard, in our community. We have to stop holding on to the past traumas that we think people went through. Because a lot of times when people tell their story, they tell their story in a place of victimhood. So when you hear somebody's story, or you hear what's going on, or somebody saying, "Oh, don't get marriages back in the day was bad," blah blah blah. Don't listen to it because a lot of people just not talking from experience. They not talking, and they just talking. They don't know what those people went through, what that other person put themselves through. So when you go into a new relationship, I always remain positive, and positive things will follow. If you come to a relationship thinking negative, things gonna happen negative. Like you can go through your girl phone, or he can go through your phone, and if you already thinking negatively, you're gonna find something. You know what I mean? Even if it's the most innocent thing. Well, I can tell you a situation myself. I went through my white phone when we was, you know what I mean, after I was going through my trauma after, you know what I mean, my first marriage. And I was looking and I was like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? That was a best friend type of deal. And the conversation was totally nothing relevant to what the conversation was about that I thought. But I put into my head that it was something that was negative, right? So now the negative thing came happen. You know
You
what I'm saying?
know,
So
hey man, that phone thing is a very interesting thing. It was what was one of the dominoes for the end of my marriage. I'm currently dating someone now. She's in the chat. Hey, Michelle Early. Something that was pretty cool, too, is like even in my marriage, I'm like, hey, you have my password. I don't really have anything to hide. If you
yeah,
find
exactly.
anything in there, don't press me on it.
Yeah.
But I'm like that as well. And what's interesting about the person who I'm talking to now, we haven't been dating each other that long, but I've got her password. I don't have that need or desire to go through like that's not
Yeah.
me. For me, it's like, hey, look, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Be me. If you rock with me, great. If there's something about me that you don't necessarily rock with, it is what it is. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? That's how I operate. James, there was a comment in here that I like to read, and then a question,
Yeah.
and then I'll let you go. So many called, few chosen. Shout out to you. He said, "Find who he is in God. Have good
Hmm.
mentors. Work on himself. Build up your value as a man. Don't live a casual life, or else you become a casualty."
Facts.
All
Facts.
right, and
Yeah, that's
then
my sister right there.
nice. That's what's
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
There was a question I asked him if he wants a daughter before he goes. So Jay, we talked about that. His wife wants a daughter, but very specifically for you though, like, would you like to have a little girl, man?
I always tell her no, and it's just because of all like the different things that plagues women, like the mindsets of the feminist movement, and you know what I mean, the whole culture and all that type of stuff, like the slut walks. And I'd be like, because you can put a lot of stuff into your kids, but that don't mean they gotta all follow you. Sometimes you always have a black sheep, in the family. So I would hate to see my daughter be like that, because I don't know what shames a man more, if their daughter turns out that way. So I kind of been like happy I've been having all boys. So, but even though I know men go through their stuff, since I'm a man, I'm able to handle it more, and I can kind of, take them away. But my wife always said, "No, you're gonna be a good dad, and you're gonna treat her right, and she'll listen." But sometimes, like living in that fear, like what you was talking about earlier. That's one of my fears that I have that I'm trying to work on. So,
All right, cool, cool. Well, hey Jay, thanks for coming on, man. Them Crimson Tide boys play Kansas State tomorrow. I will
yeah,
be
yeah,
watching that game. I'm out here in the DMV area as well.
okay.
All my social media is open. I'm about trying to network and build with people that are doing positive things. If you ever want to link up and have the opportunity, man, let me know, man, and I'll definitely make it happen on my end. So, hey,
Yeah, for
salute to you,
sure.
brother. I
All
appreciate
right,
you
brother,
joining my
man.
chats with dads. And thanks, man. I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Thanks, brother, man. Nice talking with you, man. Good job. You're doing a good job.
All right, thank you, man. All
All right,
right,
peace.
peace. All right, y'all. That was James, man. Like I said, James and I met. This is our first time linking up and chatting today. There's been a really good thing about doing content on YouTube. Like I've said before, YouTube, you reach a lot of people out there. Okay. And as you get to know people and get connected with folks and things like that, you'll kind of start having different networks and stuff overlap, and have the opportunity to connect and chop it up with people about like-minded things. And that's what I like doing. I like doing that. In the description in Facebook and YouTube is my link tree. Okay, that's pretty much all my social medias, to include LinkedIn. All right, I'm out here. It's all public. Okay. So if you ever want to reach me or whatnot, hit me up. I know a little bit about a lot. But I always like to, talk with folks, learn different cultures, get different perspectives and viewpoints that are out there. And this Chats with Dads is just another opportunity to do that. All right. So shout out to the chat and everybody that joined live. I appreciate y'all for popping in. Hope everybody has a safe and enjoyable New Year's Eve and New Year's. All right. And we'll be back with another Chats with Dads episode sometime soon. All right. Peace. Soon as I can find my videos to do the outro, we doing the outro. I'm out.